Hey, we're live. StreamYard is actually working today. Just want to take a moment to say thank you to StreamYard for that. All right, hey, it's Friday afternoon in Atlanta. It's a beautiful, I mean, beautiful Friday afternoon. Sun is out. It's like 72 degrees here. But the best part, the Rams won last night on Thursday Night Football. Come on, who am I kidding? That's the best part of this. And I got a brand new. I literally just got this hoodie in last night. And when they won, I immediately thought, this is what I'm wearing today. So anyway, folks, I'm Brent Leary. Forgot to say that. This is Friday. This is the Small Business Breakdown. And we've got the crew assembled. Leland, how are you doing, sir?
Doing wonderful. Great to be here.
We missed you last week, by the way.
Oh, I missed you guys too.
But we did miss Ivana because she was here.
I was here, and I wasn't supposed to be here today, but here I am.
You just can't do without us.
Can't stay away from us.
Can't stay away.
Yeah. You can't stay away from Ramon Ray, too. Although he likes to stay away from us, but we always welcome him back. What's up, man?
What's up, Brent? I'm doing fantastically blessed and well and excited about another Friday when we get to serve the people.
Wow. Get to serve the people. Sounds pretty good. All right. Going from sounding pretty good to John Lawson is here. How are you, sir?
Awesome.
You're awesome, Lawson.
Awesome.
You sound so thrilled about being here.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Well, with that enthusiasm in mind, folks, there's been a lot that went on this week. I'm trying to think about what's the best way to approach it. Okay, I got an idea. So Leland actually hit me to this one. I think this is really important, but I'd love to get your take on this, the crew's take, because YouTube, YouTube Shorts used to be like a 60-second thing. And sometimes it's really hard to take something that's really great, like a 20-minute conversation, break it up into 60-second slots. So it looks like YouTube Shorts are not going to be as short as they used to be. 3 minutes in length. Coming soon, it says. I don't know. Has it already started? Because I don't know if it started or not.
I tried. I uploaded a 3 minute short. Well, it's 2 minutes, 44 seconds short of Ivana from last week. And it didn't work.
So not yet.
It's me.
Yet. From what I saw, it's gonna take a while for them to work it through their system. And so even though I uploaded that short, it should, and it's registered as a regular video, it should flip over to a short eventually.
First of all, I'm just thankful that you pointed this out to me, because I was wondering why I was uploading stuff and it wasn't showing up right away. Like, what's going on here? So now I know. So you guys, everybody here does video one form or another. What is this a big deal that YouTube is letting us go from 1 minute to 3 minutes here?
I don't think it's a big deal. I think it's the evolution of the social media giants will keep tweaking and experimenting with it and trying. I think it's good. It's interesting. Nice. But I think it's not a big deal. I think it's part of the evolution of them figuring out how to monetize us to produce content. So eventually it'll be, YouTube has 600-minute YouTube shorts in a few years. So, it is what it is.
Translation is, it's a big deal to YouTube.
Yes. There you go. Yeah. I like that.
Ivana?
Maybe they're trying to compete with TikTok, maybe not. I think it's kind of funny. I think there is something really beautiful to me about restriction, right? When you restrict something. And so, back in the day, this is what I think is funny, because back in the day, what was the longest YouTube video you could do? Anybody remember? What was the original YouTube video length? It was not very long. And then it was like 10 minutes. So I'm waiting for them to introduce 10 minutes, and, maybe that'll give them some, I don't know. It sounds like TikTok.
Well, I mean, TikTok's, I think, limit is 10 minutes. And
10 minutes. And that's new.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's 60 minutes if you do it inside the, if you upload it. It's up to 60 minutes now. Yeah. So this is definitely a play to do longer videos. Ultimately, I mean,
well, wait a minute. You could already post longer videos, generally speaking. So why is that a play for longer videos if they already have longer videos outside of the short form?
Because the format, I mean, if you upload a 60-minute video, it's going to turn your portrait video into landscape and it looks stupid.
So in other words, the only difference is the formatting of the length, not the length itself.
What do you mean?
I mean, what's the difference? If it's
That's the difference between a short and a regular video,
Yeah,
is
so-
the orientation.
no, apparently it used to be the length, but
Let me help provide some clarity to the panel here. Let me come in as I often do with wisdom. Let me just try to help Brent and John understand what each other's saying. So, gentlemen, just step back a bit. Y'all can go on mute for a minute. So here's the thing. No, seriously, no. But when you scroll, I think Brent, John, right? When you scroll the issue, the 60-second, the short form, that's for the scrolling. You're walking down the park. I think when you get to that longer format, you're watching something longer, sitting at your desk with a bag
No,
of chips.
it's this landscape portrait.
That's what I just
Okay.
said.
so why do they
That's
call it
different.
shorts then?
Because
Is
you
that
can
has nothing- Yeah, but that has
it's-
nothing to do with the landscape or portrait. It's the length of the video.
It does, Brent. This version, you're scrolling more. You're kind of looking and browsing. Go ahead,
Don't
John.
call it short then. Just call it something else.
They called it shorts because it was dealing with
misnomer.
TikTok back in the day,
That's right.
Yeah.
right?
Name it
This
something else.
this actual platform was built around a landscape,
They should
format.
call it tall.
And so
Yeah, that's what I'm
But I
thinking
mean,
of.
I don't know why they can't just make the format in itself, just take whatever I put in there and then format it for that. I don't need an extra section called shorts. Just
But
have
John, what about the movies and all that? Isn't that because I'm just reading way into this, but like professional movies and videographer and all that, they do want it. What is it? Not 4:6, but the 3:9:16. They want the movie length. That's a whole nother world, is it not? Longer, 3 hour,
Right,
2
that's-
hour.
whatever you put up, they
But
should
you
just
can-
render it that way.
Oh, I
As
see.
opposed to changing, yeah.
Who is it that's doing it? Somebody's doing this. This is the weirdest thing, people. Like on TikTok. They
Yes, Joe.
actually have, who has seen this? Really poor dramas, really poorly acted dramas. And they are in that vertical format.
That's called a
They-
Tyler Perry movie.
Okay.
But I'm just saying it's almost like watching telenovelas, but the acting is poor and they can be about 10 minutes, right? So like a little bit longer, and they want you to subscribe.
Oh, like QB.
QB, yeah, that's the word.
Is
That
that what
died-
that is? What's a
that
QB?
died a
I don't
tragic
even know.
death,
Okay,
like,
I'm out
it
of
was
it
a-
now.
It was only around like a couple of months or something, wasn't it?
But it's
Yeah.
coming back. I saw something custom. Anyway, it's the cousins of Tyler Perry were doing it. Yeah, good point. I saw that on some show I was at. They put you subscribe, like you said, even a $10, you can get like a shorter form version where you can see the microphone out of the car window, see the green screen little
Oh,
sheet.
no. These are like telenovela for Americans with American actors that are overly dramatic and poor. And yet you are watching this. But the interesting thing is, I believe to John's point here, is that they are literally filmed for the vertical format.
Can you give me
It's
the
their
link to that?
design.
Because I would apply. You said overly dramatic and poor. That's
Yes.
me. I can apply and do that all day.
I am like watching this and I'm like, I cannot just believe that I went to part 2.
Well, before we go to part 3, let's bring in Monique Johnson.
Save us,
Yay.
Monique.
Monique, I'm sorry I'm gonna have to do this
Uh-oh.
because she just sent me an email wondering where the link was. And
Oh no, it was in the calendar invite. I just saw that. That's
thank you, Monique. See, I appreciate you taking the time to do that.
Sure.
Just take some notes, John. Anyway. So we're just talking about the YouTube extending shorts to 3 minutes. Do you have any strong opinions on that?
Go video queen.
Oh gosh. So okay, there's other platforms that have extended their short form content or video reels or whatever you want to call it, shorts. I think I don't feel like, oh, it's a horrible idea or anything like that. But then we get to a point where we start overlapping into what's short form versus long form. Okay. Because at one point, long form video or way back then when with YouTube, it was like, you don't want a video longer than 3 minutes or 5 minutes or something like that. And so now we're getting closer, or there's more of a gray area. We're getting closer to that line. I think it's good if it's used strategically or in a way where you are keeping people's attention. However, I've already seen people start using this, or I would like to say abusing this privilege. And as a result, like, it's just crap, if I'm just being frank. But other than that, I think it's good. I think they felt they need to do it because other platforms have done it. TikTok, Instagram. So it's just a matter of test and trial. And also for those who are using it, that just because they give you 3 minutes doesn't mean you have to use all 3 minutes. So that's just my general thought.
By the way, you're not just being frank. You're actually just being Monique. Just thought I'd put that out there. So it doesn't sound like there's a lot of actual excitement around this. That's what I'm picking up. There's no real consensus of this is a game changer or anything.
Nope.
I like it a little bit more so because right now they are the smallest. YouTube is the shortest at 60 seconds. And so if I want to hit all the platforms, including YouTube, and I want to just make one video and not edit down another video or something like that, I have to sit within the confines of 60 seconds. And now Facebook is the shortest with, I think, 90 seconds. And so that gives a little bit more play. But even then, you can actually do longer videos and still end up in the Reels, the Facebook Reels. So at that point, I think even after Facebook, it's X at 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So, or maybe they did it longer too. All of these companies are changing their times all the time. So
what's interesting about them all changing their times and all that, have we gotten any more attention? I mean, can we extend our attention? I know I can't. That's why I'm curious. Do you guys, is there any one of these short platforms that has been good for you from a connection to your customer or prospect base? Because quite honestly, the only one that works for me is, actually the only one that works for me, but the one that's been the best for me so far is LinkedIn.
You're muted, Monique.
Monique, you're unmuted. On the left side, you hit that little button there. Yeah, there you go.
Instagram Reels has been beneficial for me, and I want to tap into LinkedIn, but Instagram has helped me. I haven't honestly really delved into TikTok, and I've done a little bit with YouTube Shorts, but I would say Instagram has helped me.
Is that because that's where your audience is, Monique?
Yes and no, but also Instagram has done some algorithm changes where now they are rewarding smaller accounts now. Like if you have a smaller account, you get attention easier or more easily versus an account that's bigger. They have to work more harder at this moment. I feel like this is just only a window of time or a moment of time. It's not going to be like that forever, but just at least earlier this year, maybe like the beginning of the summer or maybe a late spring is when there was some algorithm changes within Instagram. And if you are on the smaller side, and I'm talking about like, I don't know, maybe below 20K, it's easier for you to get more attention than those that are above 20 to 30K followers.
Yeah,
That's
for me and Monique,
useful.
sorry, go ahead, even.
No, I said thank you for sharing that. Super useful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, even Brandon and Monique, I think for me it is LinkedIn, but it's hard to find a direct dot from my money from social. I've been doing it so many years, email, domain names and all that. But Instagram is a good playground. I feel emotionally good, but my money people are on LinkedIn because I don't sell to end users. I don't do coaching consulting. For me, it's brand. So for me, like my show, it came on LinkedIn. People DMing me directly. So it's hard to tell directly, but I think it's all good. I post on all platforms that I can. So that's my journey.
Mr. Lawson?
I've definitely tested out Facebook Reels, and I don't know. Several of them have gotten very good impressions. So I'm going to go deep into that because nobody else is doing it. Well, there are a lot of people doing it, but nobody really talks.
Wait a
about
minute. You're like the all-star coach. You're not coaching your your students, your pupils to do these things. You're just going to keep it to
I've
yourself.
always been one to say go where your audience is and where your focus is going to be, because fractured focus gets nothing.
Fractured focus gets
Exactly.
Like
So trying to be at
I love the
doing-
alliteration. Go ahead.
doing Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and trying to do them all and doing none of them well gets you nowhere. So you just got
You just got that fractured focus, man.
Yep.
Got that fractured focus. I would throw another F in between that, but this is kind of a clean show.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm not going to do that.
Don't do that.
All right, that's good stuff. Way to go.
But
I
can
thought-
somebody in the comments who's listening, can somebody put that? That was good, John. Fractured focus. Can somebody out there put in the comments so Brent can put up on screen, please?
You know what? If it's good enough, they'll do that. Just saying. All right. Good stuff. I was really thinking that would be a 2-minute long conversation, but was I wrong? All right. So one other quick thing. I was at Zoomtopia. Was that just last week?
Oh yeah.
Was that last week?
Wow.
Damn, I think it was just last week. Anyway, Zoomtopia is the first time going, and apparently they had stripped it down. There was only 300 people on site, but lots of people watching it.
Really? They did a Zoom?
You think they use Zoom? You think? No, they use StreamYard. No, I'm just kidding. But it was really so. Zoom is expanding. We all know. Everybody knows Zoom. It's become a verb because we all Zoom like 5 or 6 times a day. It's all these video conferences, but they announced a whole bunch of stuff that's way beyond the video conferencing thing. And one of them was the AI companion. And so, right from the headlines of Small Biz Trends, if I can only put it up, they covered the Zoom launch of AI companion. Actually, did you guys know they actually had a companion one?
Yeah.
I thought I was going to say, is this new? Because this is
Yeah, I'm about to say that's
Two is
That's not
definitely
new. Yeah, it's not new. But yeah.
no. AI companion 2 is extremely new.
Oh, okay. But AI Companion 1 is not. Yeah, like that's,
where
that's been out for at least a year.
yeah.
but
or
2
more.
is kind of brand new. And it's being able to connect a whole bunch of apps outside of Zoom. Some of the traditional productivity apps that are now being able to use the AI companion to connect all these dots that do things that was well beyond the scope of what Zoom is traditionally known for. I don't know how how Zoom centric your kind of day has become, but this is kind of a way to extend what people do on Zoom, extend it out, because so many people are on meetings, like 5 or 6 Zoom meetings a day. So I don't know how important Zoom is to your traditional work day, but do you think Zoom extending itself beyond the kind of traditional borders of web video conferencing to get all these other aspects and pull all that other data in to their AI companion, is that a big deal to you guys, or is this just another one of these companies trying to get you to do everything through them?
I have a strong opinion. And I'll just go on the creator side. I don't know the enterprise side that well and all that, but if I had to guess, just talking about being selfish, how I work, family, I think that going back to StreamYard having transcripts built in means I don't have to take my audio and go to rev.com. So in the same way with Zoom, I think the more and more Zoom can pack in, I don't know how much revenue it will be, but I think the sticky factor will increase, because when I do interviews, I do it on Zoom. So now I think there's time in the market to mature. How can they grab market share, if that makes sense? So I think that, yes, it's important, but I think there's so much out there, so much free, so much that maybe can do better than what they built in. It's going to take several months, a year or 2 or more to see where this shakes. But I'm glad they're doing it, because those who use Zoom, that means you can AI, do more with it, analyze your calls, analyze this, analyze that, and it'll grow from there. So for the enterprise, for their sales team, I bet they're going hard and saying, hey, you can save money from that. Stop using this third-party tool. Use us instead. That's my bet.
Yeah, I think it's a big deal for Zoom for sure. In fact, the past year or so, I mean, if you're an avid Zoom user, you've seen that they've completely changed just the user interface. Like, it's different. It's not like what we know, I guess, a couple years ago. And also Zoom has been a platform that is not just video conferencing. Like right now it's called Zoom Workplace. If you have it downloaded to your machine, you can connect your calendar. You can do chat with other people who's scheduled to be on this Zoom call, or what they're calling team chat. You can do clips, which is their form of doing short form content from the recordings of your meetings and stuff like that. So and some of this stuff, it's outside of just getting on and doing a meeting. And so I think it's just getting them closer and closer to, like you said, Brent, as being this all-in-one, this all-in-one platform to meet all your needs. And then also on the enterprise level, they have, what's it called? VoIP. You know what I mean? VoIP. Sorry, I don't know why I can't.
Voice over IP.
Thank you. Voice over IP and all this other stuff.
Yeah, they got the phone,
yeah,
the Zoom
yeah,
phone,
so,
and they're going hard into the contact center.
Right,
deeper
right.
and deeper.
So all of those things they've been slowly digging their fingers into. So I just feel like this is just getting them a step closer to being that all-in-one platform, whether you're a content creator, small business, or on an enterprise level.
So, I mean, to some of the things that are in 2.0, I really want to harken back to maybe like what we heard happening at Zoho, where they talked about AI everywhere and AI being such a platform that you won't see it anymore. And this is the introduction of AI everywhere for a lot of people. And what's really happening is that you're used to have a whole team to build out having docs inside of Zoom or doing a mind map from your conversation. But now you're able to literally tell the AI, hey, build an interface that looks like mind maps and put that inside of it, and it'll build it. And now it'll become part of your offering. So I see Zoom doing this. You're going to see, Microsoft's already doing that with their teams. You're going to see it everywhere. So what we thought was unique about Zoom, somebody else is going to have that inside of their thing that was just a document editor before, because AI is everywhere and we can just add on stuff on the fly now, where it used to have take a year to just build this. We can build it in a weekend with a good team. And that's what you're seeing. Mm-hmm. They're throwing everything at the wall right now.
Yep.
So since most people, at least going back to the pandemic, people are Zoom is a verb to most people. They sit in Zoom calls every day, like multiple Zoom calls every day. Does that give Zoom an advantage? Because what used to be, I don't know, maybe it still is, a lot of the work being done in the conversations being had were, via email. And of course that's still going on. But as we sit in more and more Zoom calls with all these interactions and exchanges and collaborative efforts going on, do you think Zoom has the opportunity, because all that unstructured data is being collected now, and people live in Zoom almost as much as they live in email at this point? Does Zoom have a good opportunity to win over some of those folks, some of those small business folks who used to live in Outlook or used to live in Gmail, whatever? Now that we have all these meetings and discussions, do they have an opportunity to snag some of that business?
I was gonna wait. It could.
It could.
Because I would ask you, Monique, do you use this stuff? It's like I saw that the calendar, I can use it. I saw I could do docs in it.
I know y'all don't use the calendar, so we can move past that.
That's a good question, because I was going to say now, however, do I personally use them? That's a different story. However, I will say maybe in the last 2 weeks, I have been kind of playing around with it and saying, oh, okay, you could do this and you could do that. So I will admit that initially I did not. maybe it's because I was like, well, I'm used to this, or I didn't see the value of it. But now that I've been able to kind of dig deeper into it, I'm like, oh, okay. And then especially I'm a person who I like to test out different things. I'm more on the techie side and different softwares and stuff. Not everyone's like me. There's some people who they're just like, if I can find one thing that can do everything, let me jump right onto it. And so, no, that's a good point, John, in regards to that. But I'm just saying, a lot of people, basically what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of capabilities and things that Zoom can do that people are not aware of, let alone haven't even tried to play around with in themselves. Like the clients that I work with, as far as, because I do, virtual events and strategy and things like that, even just the simple settings or events that people don't know what's going on behind the scenes with Zoom. So I say that to say, I think what Zoom is trying to do is trying to get to the less techie people, because I feel like with the pandemic, Zoom took off because people think Zoom came to fruition during the pandemic. It's like, no, I've been using Zoom literally since 2015. People are like, what? It was exist. I'm like, yes. So they have the infrastructure already. That's what put them ahead. That's why other platforms like Teams, Meet, and all that, they didn't have the breakout rooms and all that. It's because Zoom had it first. They saw why people loved it. They had the infrastructure, hence why a lot of people, and why Zoom has become a verb, because they were first. They had the infrastructure. Other platforms are doing catch up, but like as John has stated, now with AI being introduced, other platforms can possibly surpass or provide even more unique features than Zoom. But right now, Zoom has a very solid footing because they've been around for a long time and they've had a solid infrastructure.
But that's where I think that, Monique, to your point, I think that, it's a fractured market. I'm not a big enterprise guy, so I don't know the detailed numbers, but I think there's the creator economy. Many of us here on this platform are the geeks. There's our traditional corporate professional people who don't really know this stuff. They just give what the corporate gives them. There's the average regular person. So I think the market is so broad, so big, it's fractured. But I think it's the time when many of these platform players, I think, as you're saying, Monique, they have to put everything in there, because let's take a look at Wix, an old school player, right? How fast we say that, how technology, but Wix, CRM, accounting, billing, and all this. For the new person coming in who doesn't know, great. I built my website, send my invoice. I don't know the numbers, but Wix has a few thousand, 100,000, whatever it is, customers going head to head with the Keep, right? Or going head to head with whoever it is. So I think that's where we're at with AI. StreamYard can dab into a little Zoom. Zoom is dabbing into a little StreamYard. Mm-hmm. Rev was a 1-bit player, just captions and all this, but now StreamYard and Zoom have the capability to steal Rev's money. You go to do Google Drive slides. What do they say? Create image. Canva better wake up. I may use Canva less and less.
No.
No.
Yeah, right.
Canva.
Leave Canva out of
No. You can't. No, I don't agree with you on that, Ramon. That's not right.
Okay. Let me get my pitch. For the new person who's only using Canva for something, I think with those things built in, I look at when I went to WordPress, Monique and John Lawson, I went to WordPress. I call the names out there. I saw the little tool in there. So I'm not saying totally yet, but my point is the time is here to bite little pieces on the last part where y'all came all out at me. That's what I think.
I mean, hey, real quick. I just want to say one thing that we're not thinking about, and it's same with the Canva, all of these guys are trying to move all the freemium people to a paid program.
Yep. Boom, 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 boom. Because when I was using Zoom originally, if you had a free account, I remember I did a webinar, you guys, that thing cut off of me 15 or 20 minutes, right? As a free account user at that time. And I don't know, for some reason, I didn't think they were going to do it. And they did. It was so embarrassing. But now, since the pandemic, a free account on Zoom, I think we have up to 45 minutes now, right? So you didn't have that before. So you're right, John. That's a very valid point to get the free over.
Monique, did you really have to say that?
Yeah, don't say.
Is it a really valid point, John? That's kind of like. First of all, I need to.
Wait, John, you're agreeing with Brent? Don't say that.
Because it just brings heat.
It really does, because I have to address something he said like 5 minutes ago.
You see, Monique, the whole conversation, Brent was going to pass on to go on, but now he has to stop the show and he has to reset the whole show.
When in the world did you ever use the term hearken before? You hearkened back?
I've got AI writing for me. AI writing everything.
You're right. Wait, he said Harkin for real?
He did say Harkin. It's
Oh
on
my
tape. It's
gosh.
recorded, and it will be clipped out. You can believe that. Anyway, I want to get through one more thing before I get to the big topic. But so far, I mean, this has been great. All right, so another one of these big guys, your favorite social media platform, or maybe not, Meta, quietly adds automatic adjustments to ad accounts, raising concerns. That would raise a few concerns with me if I actually spent money with them. All right, but here's the story here. What's happening? The system can, this is this automation system they have now. Pause or activate campaigns, adjust budgets up or down, consolidate ad accounts, make changes without notifying advertisers, consolidate audience segmentations, and more. It could do all of that without your explicit agreement, apparently. Why we care? I'll read this and then we'll find out why y'all care. If you care at all. This feature gives Meta significant control over campaign management, including pausing campaigns, adjusting budgets, and consolidating audiences without explicit approval. Do you think this is a good one for small businesses to be aware of and to adjust accordingly?
Even I was waiting for you, but I'll jump in.
Oh man, to be aware of, absolutely. And I mean, I have actually, so I just, have to put the caveat on here. I am by no means anymore. I would never call myself an expert on Facebook ads or Meta ads. They change so much stuff. I think Leland is the person that's going to jump in here on the technical side. But there are settings to Monique's, like Monique was talking about Zoom. There are settings and buttons and things that you need to do in a certain type of order, in a certain type of detail. It is already hard. Okay. And on top of that, one of the things that I've noticed, and I don't know if this is anecdotal, but with the holidays coming on, I have had some clients and people that I'm familiar with put Facebook ads out there. The money is getting spent, but nobody is seeing the ads. Like, it seems like bigger brands were taking up that space. And I don't know if this is anecdotal. It's anecdotal. Obviously, it's an impression. But so small businesses in general, at least those of them, which is a lot of them that are spending less than $500 a month on marketing, I think that they have really stepped back on Facebook advertising because of its complexity. So not only do you have to pay for the ads, but you've also got to pay for someone who knows how to set up the ads. You will lose your shirt if you are messing around with this. And I don't know who has had the experience of turning something on and forgetting to shift something, right? And the next thing you know, I'm not even going to say the number because I just about had my face melt. So very, very complex. I don't know of course the reason is to make more money, but I've just completed a study with small business owners and they have really taken off. They are not really seeing Facebook ads, the regular everyday folks, as something that's working for them, at least those in my audience. I'm going to pass it on to Leland, actually, because I want to hear anything technical that you might know about Facebook ads.
I don't know much about Facebook ads, unfortunately. This to me sounds like they're trying to either make it so complex that you have to find someone to do your ads, or they're trying to add in AI so that they're trying to sell it as like, oh, you don't need to find someone. We'll do it all for you. We know what's best. We can do it for you. And to me, that goes, if you're adjusting my budget without my knowledge, I'm going to go find someone to make sure that those settings are turned off.
Leland, let me give you the other side.
You got to be able to opt in, I hope.
Yeah, no, opt in, John, you're right. But on the good side of this, I know people don't like AI and tech. I mean, they're doing it for you. But I think the benefit of this, let's say I have a budget of only $2,000 a month. And Facebook which I think, Leland, the other side, there could be a good part of this is like $2,000 a month. We will help you make $4,000 a month, and it's all botted and AI'd, and they're getting the intelligence from people like me. Please, Facebook, if I give you my card and you're taking $2,000 a month and you're showing me that sales are going off, why not? So that's how I see it. I'm one of those. I get there's the nefarious, and we want to scam you and get your money, but on the other hand, they want to make money, so it's a
They
partnership.
gotta make money.
I love your heart, Ramon.
Come
No,
on,
they
now.
have. Look, man. Look, if Facebook, if what you're saying is happening, where small businesses are saying we're not getting the results out of Facebook advertising the way it was, I see Facebook possibly by doing this, even though some of the wording is kind of crazy, right? But I see Facebook being able to say, hey, let us take over
That's right.
the ad management because you're not doing a good job at it. And Facebook has to make money for me, or I'm not going to put more money back in.
That's right.
So
I think it's good.
they have to make it work. They can't just be like, oh, we're going to take your money and run off. They have to make sure that next month I put more money back in.
Mhm.
So I like it.
So let me ask John, because Amazon has their own app.
I was about to say this is Amazon.
Do the third party sellers like having to kind of go that route?
I mean, there's a whole lot of things that, yeah, Amazon has a lot of tools inside of Amazon. Like you guys might not know, but there's a tool inside of Amazon that will change your prices of your product based on demand automatically, right? So you can turn this on so that it maximizes your profits over time. So it watches your competitor's price, and if their price goes down, your price matches it. If it goes up, yours goes up because the volume's getting so good, So there's a whole lot that goes on.
I mean, and the old school Google SEO, wasn't it all built on when they brought their marketing platform? People could bid on certain keywords and automatically say match up until
max.
price.
Yeah.
So it's not really new, but it's Facebook.
Yeah, for Facebook, this is very new for because Facebook was kind of hands-offish. Now I see them taking, like Ramon said, their AI and maybe overlaying it because
got the
Ramon,
data.
they understand Ramon doesn't know what he's doing.
Really? No, but John's saying it messing with me, but it's really the thing is, John is right. That thing, John, it took me 8 years to get a Facebook pixel on. I was clicking with WordPress back and forth, not 8 years, more like 8 hours. But my point, I'm half joking. But the point is, you get my point. John, that's for the person with the patience. Facebook pixel, you got to test it, track it, compare it, A/B testing. No, Facebook, minimum ad spend, $5,000 a month. I'm trying to sell water bottles. I get it. Disclosure takes 3 months to test it. Fine, but you'll figure it out. And after 2-3 months, you'll guarantee me to
Because we
whatever.
all know Ramon is about premium convenience.
He is, dude, for sure.
Wow.
For sure. Look, he
look
pulled
at
out
that.
his Toomey bag.
He's got the merch. All right. Interesting. So there was some good and some bad, or positive or negative, it sounds like, across the board. Interesting.
We'll see how it goes, man.
Well, is anybody going to try it out?
Oh, yeah, I'll try it out for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, you're going to do it like a lab experiment. Not
I am going to do it. Like
actually
that.
trying to do
Me
something.
and Monique are going to be out there.
Yeah, y'all lab rats and all that. All right, here we go.
Don't hate. Don't hate.
I'm going to hate. It's okay. All right, here we go. This is, I don't know. I was expecting this might be an interesting one. So, nah, not this one. Yes, this one. All right. Oh, so this is an article I saw. What was that? Just yesterday. Man, we got new stuff. So apparently there's a possibility, maybe, that there's some federal movement to try to break up our Google. And the U.S. Department of Justice may be on the verge of seeking a breakup of Google in a bid to make it less dominant. This means potentially breaking up entities like the search engines. We're talking about just what we already knew Google for, and their advertising platform. We just kind of talked about that a little bit. Their video website. YouTube. Mapping apps. So they're going to break what is known as Google today into like several different, or potentially several different businesses. Kind of like what happened to what was that, Bell? Back in the
Ma
turn
Bell,
of,
AT&T, yep.
yeah, back in the turn of the century with the Sherman Antitrust Act and all that kind of stuff. So they broke them up into all these little baby bells, and what happened basically was they
And
all,
look where they are now.
yeah, well, they're huger than the company would have ever been if they hadn't been broken up. But the key phrase here is when if they break it up, that means they would not be able to share the data that they've been capturing on us.
Wow.
All across. And how many years has that been happening? So the question is, from a small business perspective, is it better for Google to stay as is, or is it better for the feds to come in and break it up and make them all separate entities and they can't share data across them? I am so curious to see what you guys see. So who says the government should actually break Google up into a bunch of mini Googles? Only one. And everybody else is like,
I've been thinking about this.
It's hard.
It's hard. I've been thinking about this, and we sort of covered it because that is the same thing that came to me. I actually worked in a spin-off company called AllNet when the Baby Bells broke up. Now, one of the things that's different when the Baby Bells broke up and you had all these different phone companies, one of the things that's, I don't know if it's different than this, is they were using, AT&T was literally renting out that infrastructure. And the same thing has happened in the, I believe, the natural gas industry, probably the electricity industry. And what ends up happening is the foundational organization, like whether it was like whether it's AT&T or your gas company, what ends up happening is that they want to go into, let's say, generation, or they're going to focus their work on an aspect of that market, while these other little companies take on like other roles, other specializations, right? But even now, with all the phone companies that broke up, they broke up, there was a bunch of them, and then they kind of contracted again, and now we got sort of bunches of them again, and it's confusing. And although the question is if it's going to allow a small business to get found, if it's going to allow a small business to do better, or stand out from their competition in some way, that's what they're going to like. I don't know. I honestly have no clue. Who else? I'm everywhere.
I would love to hear what John, since you're the only person to say to break them up.
Once again, Monique, I must check you. What is this connection between you and Mr. Lawson? What's going on here? I just want to know. Okay, please enlighten us, because you were the only one.
Yeah, I want to hear, because I'm so in between, because I'm like, do I? I mean, I kind of do, kind of don't. So I just want to hear Lawson.
I know. I mean, they are extremely powerful in terms of the amount of data they have collected from us over the years, and similar to the Ma Bells of the day. I think that alone is one reason to go ahead and let's get this thing broken up before it's, way, way too late. But also, if you think about it, look at all the advancements that we've had in phone technology since the breakup. I think that has actually been a benefit. I don't think Ma Bell would have us where we are today if it weren't broken up. So I actually feel like breaking them up might unleash even more creativity. So that's one of the reasons. Those are the two reasons why I say yes.
Go ahead, Monique.
Sorry.
No,
and
please.
Also, Google has developed a reputation, right? Because you brought up a good point, John. This kind of negative reputation as far as releasing things and like dropping the ball on them, or like giving up, like
good stuff that we used to use.
Yes. So things that, like for me, Well, not for me, but just in general, like the most recent thing is like there's transitioning people off of their Jamboard, right? Which was a lot of people used. They have this it was an article that came out a couple months ago and having this horrible reputation where it's like it's a great company to introduce new ideas and things, but it's like if it doesn't go the way they would like, they will just completely just ignore it and just offset it, right? So possibly if Google were to be broken up, maybe these new products or things that they create, we won't have, such of this drop off that happens when they do that. So that's why I'm in between. And that's why when you said what you said, John, that makes a good point as far as like the creativity piece, because it's like Google does come out with some good stuff, but sometimes, especially it's like, dang, but I like using this thing. And it's like, maybe a lot of people don't, or they just don't like the way it's going. So they just drop it.
Let me just give an alternative perspective to this. And I appreciate you saying that John had good comments and good thoughts, Monique. Thank you for that.
Why is everyone hating on John? Good.
I don't know why they do this.
We're just following Brent's lead.
Yeah, we're just following. He's the host.
I will never hate on John. I love John.
No, we don't hate on John. We don't hate on him. It's just the buttering up is just gives some issue. But let me just move on here. So, I think one other perspective, I guess, when I think of Google Maps, Apple has the money and facility, blah, 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 to do mapping. I think, as I recall, wasn't so well. Microsoft has their mapping and Bing and whatever. I use it as my default. Not so great. So I guess, but I like your feedback to my feedback, everybody, because I could be wrong on this, but I just think the advantage of a big company and all that, Maps is amazing. Imagine having 7 or 20 or 35 little companies doing maps and all kind of crappiness. So that's the advantage, I think, of a big company. Things like that, perfect mapping system, perfect advertising solution, but having small little bit players, one going out of business the next day, the other going in business. Maps is gangster. So that's my point. Can somebody say that what I said was a good thing too, please?
Yeah.
Ramon.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
I agree.
Thank you.
Certain things.
All good points, because like we
not all. Just say now you just ruined it. You just say all good points.
No. We have a history of when things break up, right? That there is innovation. That's for sure. I just kind of wish they had done it on their own or something. That's a good point. I generally, in general, we have regulation. What did I say the other day? I said, why do we have lawyers? Because people are no damn good. Right?
Yeah, you did say that. Yes.
I would love it if the government would not mess around in our business, if people would do the right thing. So like you think that in 2024, we have enough experience and enough historical knowledge and they teach you in graduate school and in undergrad that cannibalizing your own stuff is a good idea.
Amazon.
Right? So if they could, I wish that they had come to it on their own. And
I actually think they did. I think they did. Yeah, I think they seen the train coming. That's why they made Alphabet, because they knew Google was not going to be a thing by itself anymore. So it's going to be able to break off Google as one thing and then Maps as another thing. I already think they see it coming.
Maybe they saw the regulation coming.
Yeah.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we all know that there's 5 entities that freaking own everything. So
Name
the
the
fact
5.
that anything has a brand on it is just a brain trick.
Give us the 5, even though I want to see if we have the same 5.
Oh, I don't know if I got it. I said there's BlackRock, Vanguard, and I don't know, a couple other ones that I cannot remember their names. But people like that.
Well, like the private equity firms and big billion-dollar monies. The private equity firms and people like that, you mean?
I'm saying if you were to go, this is not at all the same thing, but if you were to go down your grocery shelf, for example, you see lots of brands, but it's really not lots of brands.
It's a conglomerate.
All those brands.
Conglomerates, and even those inside
are owned. Yes, you're correct. Yeah. And Vanguard is definitely one of those.
Vanguard is one of them. Hey, I got my stuff at Vanguard. My returns are awesome. So I'm not saying anything about that. But at the same time, let's just all recognize, is all I want to say, that the brand and the logo that you see is just that.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just that.
That was a good point, even. A good
That
point,
was
even.
profound. No, that wasn't
Yes.
a good, Ramon.
was amazing.
That was profound.
That was
Okay.
profound.
All right, we
Yeah.
got profundity going.
Profounded.
By the way,
Thank you.
can we say a shout out to Ian Gertler, because he wrote the absolutely longest comment I've ever seen on a LinkedIn post. So thank
my
you, Ian.
God.
Thank you, Ian.
Thank you, Ian.
Actually, that's
Thank
coming
you.
from X. That's coming from X. Okay, cool. Wow. All right,
Okay.
we got some.
And I like what else Ian said.
He's been saying a lot of good stuff. Actually,
If anyone's going to cannibalize Apple, it should be Apple. And I think that,
Well-
that's a good idea. Remember, doing the right thing and making money are not mutually
Wait a minute. What is doing the right thing? Even if, see, now this is where, no.
All
what-
right, yeah,
Oh,
you're
we're about to
starting
go
to-
down a whole
starting
rabbit
to-
hole.
we don't have time to go.
Oh,
We don't have time to go down that hole today, folks. I mean, we'd be digging for days going around that hole. All right, this has been really this is great. I don't think we solved anything, but are we really supposed to solve
We
anything?
talked about a
already?
lot of trends and tools today. I thought there was, I learned some things. I'm pretty excited about that.
Well, before
I'm
we
gonna
get
have to
out of
think
here,
about
I would love, because Ramon and Leo and I, before y'all made it, we were talking. That sounded so harsh. Let me harken
Why
back
is
to a
so
nice.
harsh?
Let me
You're
harken
so
back to a
harsh on
nice.
everybody.
Harken back.
tone
He wants
here.
to harken back.
I'm gonna harken back to a nice,
Okay.
quieter tone. No, Ramon and Leland and I were talking before everybody joined about, matter of fact, Ramon, what was your question you had about Spotify and video podcasts? Tell us.
Yes, my question was, I'm doing podcasting traditionally has been audio only. People think of the word audio. Spotify, I don't know how long it has been, maybe Monique or other John may know, but recently I introduced video at some point into it. So I was wondering, what are the thoughts of me publishing my podcast, my show to YouTube? We'd expect video, but to disperse a little bit of video in there or always have video? That was my question. Should I do more of my podcast as video? Because I find on Spotify, I can still turn my phone screen off and still hear the audio, as opposed to Facebook and YouTube. When your phone screen's off, put it in your pocket, the audio shuts off and you can't hear it still. That's the
Unless
question.
you have YouTube Premium. But yes, you are correct.
That was good, Monique. That was amazing. That was amazing what you said. Go ahead.
remote. So it's so funny because I'm not going to dispel the name, but working with a client where they're in that same predicament. They're in the media space, right? And I've been really pushing them towards doing video podcasts because whether you like them or not, right? So there's the Joe Rogans, there's Rich Rolls, there's a lot of video podcasts that have come to become very popular, very influential. I mean, to the point where we got the presidential, candidates on them and stuff like that. And they're like for 3+ hours long. I think we're in a world now, and if you look at the statistics, Ramon, where with video podcasts, a lot of times people think, oh, it needs to be this fancy production, or rather you could just have a camera where it's just capturing you candidly. You don't have to talk directly, talking head type of style. I say that to say, I think you should explore, and as John would say, test it out, more video podcasts for sure, because that is what the trend or what more people are looking at, even if it's you'll be surprised. The demographics is like younger. I don't know, in the younger demographics up until, I don't know, I forgot the age, but some people will just have the video podcast on while they're doing stuff in the house, right? Sometimes, they just feel more of a connection and want to hear more. Sometimes if you can't capture it audio wise, you got to see it visually to really grasp what they're saying and stuff like that. I mean, my husband introduced me to Joe Rogan, like before Joe Rogan really, really blew up. And you will find him, open up the Spotify app and just have it on, and he's doing his thing, or he has it as background noise. So I definitely think it's something you should explore. There's content creators like a Dan Coe out there, where YouTube is his foundation, but he puts up his episodes, which are like in podcast format, onto Spotify, and like he gets a lot of subscribers in that way. But test it out.
Thank you, Monique. And I think that, Monique, listen, if you ever want a free consulting gig or anything like that, just come over to me, and I'm happy to give you a free.
Why gotta be free? Why gotta be free?
By the way, I just wanted to point out, without any prompting, Ian said, "Good point, Monique."
Thank you, Ian. I greatly appreciate it.
No prompting at all. Kind of nice. Anyway,
that was a great comment.
so the last thing I was going to ask is, everybody, do you have a favorite podcast? And if so, what is it? Whoever wants to jump in.
I'll jump in.
Okay.
Yeah, I got two podcasts. I want to shout out to my buddy. Some of you may know him, Lauren Feldman, 21 Hats podcast. Really good podcast covering the 21 hats that we small businesses wear. He's been doing it for 4 years or so. It's really good. And the second one, and very niche, but in our industry, especially me and Leland, what we're building and doing is The Rebooting. The Rebooting is by a guy who used to be a part of Digiday, and it talks about all things. What's up, Glenn Lundy? It's live, brother. Good to see you, Glenn Lundy. And it's about all things niche publications. So really good, $4 million, $5 million, $10 million blogs, podcast events. It goes into depth, email open rates and sponsorships. So The Rebooting is mine. Who's next? I'll tag you, John Lawson.
Stephen Bartlett, the Diary of a CEO podcast. Absolutely one of my favorite conversations. I love the Diary of a CEO podcast. Stephen Bartlett, remember that name.
You're supposed to tag somebody now.
Oh, okay. I tag Ivana.
Yeah, because I'm making this face because I'm trying to
I
remember.
know. It was a face.
I'm making this face. I know the name of the podcast, but I always forget the guy's name.
What's the name of the podcast?
I love Pitchfork Economics.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
And because they, the guy that originally created it, whose name is right now escaping me, so somebody jump in and Google it because I can't remember the guy's name. And he actually did a TED Talk back in 2013, and they got pissed at him and they made him take it down, and they had to put it back up because he's like a super rich guy, billionaire. But he's like, hey, if we don't understand that there's different forms of economics and we don't understand the complexity of economics, it's not what we were all taught in school, then we're going to have a hard time of it. So he always has interesting academics, authors that kind of go against the grain. So like even in business school and undergrad, where you're supposed to study different types of models of economies, I was blown away by how much I did not know and how many different ways there were to look. And of course, going along with that is Freakonomics, which is just plain old fun data. I'm a geek, data geek, totally. Okay, I have to tag. I guess that means I'll tag Leland.
I'm not the biggest podcast person per se. There's a few political commentaries I like to watch, but I'm more into shorts, reels, and I like seeing the clips from podcasts like Joe Rogan. And you get that way I don't have to wade through 3 hours of something that's a little mindless, and I get the meat at the podcast. And I've gotten a couple of them come through the reels, and it's just like, oh, that's entertaining, that's funny, and then I move on. Monique,
do we get Monique yet?
Yeah, we need Monique.
Oh goodness, you guys! Like I'm going through my phone. I'm like, dang, which one?
You had like 10 minutes to figure this out, Monique.
I know. So it's a podcast network, right? So it's nothing like what you all mentioned, which I love. Some of them I'm very familiar with what you mentioned, but this podcast network where they focus on telling historical events in story format. Okay. So there's like a British one of like the as this is the history of like really creepy murders and stuff like that, to even it's called British Scandal and American Scandal. The American Scandal covers everything from Watergate to but they do it in storytelling format. Like the characters, they give them actual, and it's something I really got into when I was pregnant and going on my walks. Like, and I'm just like, oh yeah, and I'm like, they need to teach history more like this because it really settles and it's in stories and it's like you feel like you're connected to these characters. So I decided to go on the other side of the extreme and go more of, I don't know what this is called, but like storytelling historical podcasts, I like American Scandal and British Scandal.
I just like to thank Monique because I didn't say what it had to be your favorite business podcast or anything. I just said podcast.
No, I should.
Y'all just went right down to the get to the business.
I don't listen to business podcasts, actually.
I don't either. I'm listening for enjoyment.
I do. That's all I love.
I want me some sports, and I want me some Prince reaction clips, and I want me some.
I want to shout out to Ian Gartner, Nick Hanauer. Thank you. I could not remember his name.
And well, Brent, you can enjoy business podcasts. Brent, I listen to the Wall Street Journal podcast from time to time. It's called The Report. It's amazing, long form on all kind of. I see John nodding, all kind of deep things about economy and business and all that.
That ain't coming to mind at first, buddy. I want to. Yeah. I do this stuff all day long, man. I want me some sports. I want me some music. I mean, come on. I'm surprised.
You know which one is
good
fun?
Prince podcast. I'm surprised you didn't even mention.
You know which one is really fun? It's called it's in the Wondery podcast group. It's called
Imagine. That's the network Wondery.
They are so good, and they do one called Imagined Life. And what they'll do is they will tell the story of a celebrity before they were a celebrity, but it's in the second person.
Yes.
So it's
what's second person? I know first person and third person. I didn't go to school that much. So what's second person?
Yeah, you know, second person. So it's like this. You walk out of the store and you see a guy and you wonder, you know, how is this going to make me feel? And so it's about yourself.
That's deep. That's complicated. I can't even think about
that. You do that, Ramon. You talking to third person. It's the same
third.
thing. Well, it's kind of the same thing, only it's like you just keep using the word you. Except that you're referring to yourself. So whoever's
we get everything on this show. We get great small business commentary. We get grammatical lessons. We get best podcast stuff. By the way, Ian and Franchise King and Glenn, leave your favorite podcast in the comment section because we like to know what you guys are.
And Brent, can I give a special shout out? Glenn Lundy, I don't know if y'all know the name Glenn Lundy. Some of you may, but Glenn Lundy is the one who introduced me to personal branding 4 years ago during the pandemic when we were on Breakfast with Champions. He's the founder of BWC, gone through like 3,000, 4,000 episodes daily. I just want to give him a shout out.
Yay!
You just did. And a very nice shout out at that. Yes. All right, folks. Man, we went long, but it was full of good stuff. This is a great conversation. Great comments coming in from everybody. So last parting thoughts. We'll start with Ivana.
Last parting thoughts. Okay. Since we just got done talking about podcasts, one of the reasons I love listening to like non-business podcasts is like I really, really get a kind of cool insight about people and what drives people. So I would say, and everything we talked about today. So maybe like look at what's underneath. In everything you do this coming week, look at what's underneath.
Look what's underneath. All right. The bold one, the cold one.
I don't know. Just enjoy your weekend.
I have nothing.
Lame. I have nothing.
Lord.
Oh my God. Hey,
can I go ahead? Because I'm just like John.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really have anything. I was gonna say something about enjoy your weekend. I think this was a great show. I think it was great. We tackled a lot of things, and I feel like some of the conversations we have, we're gonna have again, especially like the Google, I forgot what else, but yes. Enjoy your weekend, guys.
But they were important conversations.
Yes, they were. I just can't remember. I have new mom brain, so I have an excuse.
Okay, new mom brain. We get it. All right. Yeah. Ramon.
Hey, I think everybody, I want you to live your best life. Wake up every day with excitement. I want you to go forward in victory and have a mindset of empowerment that you can do it too.
Why are you
the hell voice was that?
Yeah, what was that? What is that? ASMR voice?
He's doing some testing. He's doing
a little A/B testing for
next because next, Leland, go ahead.
I am just so glad that all of you guys are able to come on and share your opinions and your perspectives. It's wonderful to see all of you guys come, and I mean. Is this one of the first times we've had like 6 people on?
Yeah, here? Are you crying?
Wait a minute. There's no crying in live streaming.
There's no crying in live streaming.
You guys are awesome, and I'm so glad to have you be able to do live stream with you guys.
That's what I just tried to start saying. Everything Leland just said, I tried to
What are you
bring
doing?
it
Your
back.
golf voice? Like you're getting ready to call the fourth tee or something?
Somebody cut off his mic. Ramon, you're done.
All right, we're all done because it's the end of the show. My parting thought is join me at 5 when I once again school the bold one, the cold one. It's a weekly thing. He needs
Take
to,
it easy on John,
he needs the
please,
enlightenment.
at 5 o'clock.
Trust
Take
me.
Monique,
It
you're not
does not
allowed to.
happen.
Monique,
It
you're
does
not
not
allowed to
happen.
watch.
It
You're not
only
allowed to
happens in his
watch.
head.
That's all I'm saying. Anyway, we will see you next Friday. Wow, this was show number 11. You know, next week will be 3 months because 12 divided by 4. Anyway, so we will see you next Friday. Have a great weekend and week.
Bye,
everybody.
everyone.
Have a great weekend.